Welcome to the final episode of NFT Update on the main channel. I'm your host, Deezy.
I'm Justin, man. You scared me. I was like, this is it.
Yeah. Everybody, you have to go to our new channel, the NFT Update channel on YouTube. You can click on channels and you'll see it pop up. But yeah, the farewell episode. How are you feeling about the farewell episode?
I feel a little nostalgic and sad. I remember the first time I sat in this chair.
Yeah.
When was it? Like 3-4 months ago?
We were so young and dumb then.
So stupid. And
times have changed. Crypto's
idiots.
Changed.
Yeah. But now look at us. You know, I think I still have the same black t-shirt on. You got the same hoodie on. But wait a minute. Is that a Street Dogs hat?
Yeah, we got a Street Dogs hat. Yeah, from one of the early episodes. I want to bring back some old merch for, from one of the early days.
Yeah. Well, maybe I should put that.
But it's okay. You can follow us to the new channel. We're still putting out regular content. I made out a video today. We basically put out a video almost every single day, sometimes 2 videos and a TikTok and some screen records on Twitter. So we're always making content on NFT Update. You find it on YouTube. That
link will be in the description. But you're right. Yeah, we put out almost daily, at least 1 video a day, it feels like. Sometimes there's a podcast too on that show, on that channel, Off the Cuff, featuring Deezy and myself. Go check that out. You kind of get to know us a little bit better as people. We're funny and also talk about crypto, what we think about crypto. So y'all make sure to go check that out.
And today's episode, we're going to do a really cool project, sports NFT related, and very, very important tips to navigate the Cardano NFT system. We put out some short content, but we want to, put out a nice long video, just kind of explaining just 4 quick tools that help you, be able to get these NFTs when there's a little bit of an overloaded blockchain.
Yeah, Cardano's a little clunky, but I think they're working all their issues out. But in the meantime, I think it is good to have these, tips to kind of navigate through that space.
Yeah,
sure.
But we got a project to talk about, a little sponsor segment. What do we got going on? It's Hoop Life, right? It's the Ballies.
Ballies NFT built on Binance Smart Chain. So pretty cool. Art looks pretty cool. It's essentially going to be a basketball game inside of the metaverse. It's 9,999 unique NFTs actually created by an award-winning artist.
Now, did you play any basketball games way back in the day, like Sega Genesis, Super Nintendo?
No. I played Horse.
Okay, you played in real life.
Yeah, I played in real life Horse. Basketball wasn't my sports, but I did play NBA Jam. So if you're going to bring up video games, Sega, NBA Jams, it's heating up. You're on fire.
You know what's cool about NBA Jam is, they didn't have 5-on-5, right? Was it 3-on-3 or something like that? Or
I can't remember now, but I feel like it was either 3-on-3 or 5-on-5.
Yeah, so this game is kind of similar. They're going to do 1-on-1, 3-on-3. And 5-on-5. So however you want, like more of a street baller type thing, 1-on-1. I'm gonna cross you up, I'm gonna dunk in your face. Do the 1-on-1. If you want, if you're a team, fundamentals, defense wins the game, go 5. If you're in the middle, do the 3v3.
It's a play to earn too.
Yeah,
so like
in
play
to earn action,
whether it's a tournament or just some 1-on-1 games, it's play to earn. You're gonna be earning some tokens on the Binance Smart Chain network. So that's pretty cool. But these NFTs, going back to those, so you get a base NFT. So you
How do you tell the difference between the Michael Jordan and that bench warmer who's like a middle school player?
Okay. So you get the base NFT, and then after that, you get a layered 1 NFT, which is your attack and defense. So depending on your player,
so their ability to foul, they'll hack the guy's arm. When you say attack, you mean they fight on the court, or is this like scoring ability?
Scoring ability. Yeah, I don't think they're like killing each other on the court. Now I don't know. The game's still in beta. But,
who knows where
maybe
the market will,
who knows where it's going to go.
If you demand it, I don't know. But yeah, so scoring ability versus defense. Okay, so you kind of see how, everything plays out. A little bit of randomization with a little bit of skill added.
Yeah, then your layer 2 is accessories and other ways to actually like power up and upgrade your player.
You get some cool shoes or something, right?
Cool shoes. Could get those like 1980s NBA shorts, the real high ones.
Real short.
Yeah. Or
it's for aerodynamics.
Yeah, aerodynamics. That's what they made. Magic Johnson. So I think it's going to be a very cool thing if they pull it off. I know the game's in beta right now. I'm looking forward to seeing. I know we cover a lot of these metaverse games and NFT games, so I'm very curious to see like how well they pull this game off. The team's pretty cool. I think they'll be pretty pretty successful.
Yeah, so they got the beta games, and they're going to do beta rooms. They have a metaverse plan with Engine. You know, that's going to be pretty big. So, I mean, they definitely want to keep growing. They want to do lend to earn. So you start lending out your players. They want to make it a DAO.
That reminds me of Axie.
Yeah.
You know, lending out your teams to play, lending out your players to play. So
Yeah, I'll give you, I'll give you my Jordan-esque equivalent here. Also, plans for a token, and then the biggest thing of all, other sports eventually.
Okay.
So, you know, if you really did want those guys to fight, maybe they'll make a hockey game.
Yeah, maybe they will.
Check out that aggression on the football field. So they definitely have, you know, a large road. This is a multi-year play. This is going to be a long-term, game for, you know, for the Binance Smart Chain system.
Yeah, I think it's going to be successful. The drops early February. We're going to put the links in the descriptions for the website to keep up to date on that. Make sure you're on the lookout for it. Binance Smart Chain, so you're not going to have to deal with those pesky Ethereum transaction fees.
Yeah. But, all right, you ready for a step-by-step breakdown on how to get a Cardano NFT?
Of course.
Yeah, I know. I needed one a month ago. That's for sure.
Let's do it.
All right, so the first thing you do, you're buying an NFT. What do? You got to add funds to a wallet. You know, you send it from an exchange like a Coinbase, a Kraken. But what do you use for a Cardano wallet? What's your go-to?
My go-to, my first Cardano wallet, remember it like it was yesterday, was the Nami wallet.
Yeah.
So I bought my ADA on KuCoin, and I was able to send it over instantly to my Nami wallet. Very similar to the MetaMask for Ethereum network. So I was very used to that. The user experience was perfect. I didn't have any issues. So that was my first wallet. What about you?
Definitely Nami wallet as well, but there's a new contender, CC Vault.
Oh, CC Vault.
So yeah, definitely Nami or CC Vault just seems to be the way to go if you're trying to buy from, you know, marketplace. Now, if you're minting, you know, then you go even deeper, but those will do in a pinch when it comes to minting. Sometimes the drop's just so insane, you know, everybody, it's basically a crapshoot for everybody. But yeah, the first step, get your wallet, Nami, CC Vault. And then the next step would be, you know, if it's an Ethereum, you would go to OpenSea to buy your NFT.
Or Rarible, yeah.
Yeah, but this is Cardano. So instead of that, where would you go after you have the ADA on your wallet?
My go-to Cardano NFT marketplace is JPEG Store.
Yeah.
It's so easy. It connects right away to your Nami wallet. You're able to use it right there, and it interacts just like MetaMask on OpenSea.
Yeah, jpg.store.
Yeah.
And also, if you, it's not as good in my opinion, but sometimes you can't get it. You know, you're unable to get it on the JPEG store. So you go to CNFT.io, but make sure you're clicking instant buy. It's a little lightning. So you want to hit the little lightning thing. And that way, you can get it quickly. But sometimes there's a little bit of a premium, but JPEG store, very fast, very efficient. You know, I'm a big fan of JPEG store myself for sure.
Yeah, me too.
All right, so you got that. You know, you kind of know where to buy it, but you like to snipe. You like to hunt. You like to try to find those deals. You like to search the rarity. You know, we got rarity tools for ETH, but again, we don't have that for Cardano, so we got to go elsewhere. Where do you go for your rarity?
CNFT.tools.
Okay.
That's the place you go to break down rarity. It'll actually break down the different traits on that site. It'll break down the percentages. So like, you know, if you get the boss cat with a cigar in his mouth wearing bunny ears, there might only be 10 of those. It'll tell you that. Whereas, one with the diamond skin, there might be 100 of those. Yeah. So it breaks down the traits for you. You know if it's going to be rare or not, and it ranks it right there on that site. Yeah. It's very similar to rarity tools.
All right, and speaking of ranks, there's one thing we like to employ from the playbook, and that's check the rankings, check the volume, see where projects are heading on the way up. Is the floor kind of reaching that bottom? Are we on that parabolic upswing where that NFT is going to 3x, 4x, 7x, 10x? Yeah. So what do you do when you're trying to see basically like the OpenSea activity button or a Nansen? What do you do for Cardano? What's your go-to for that?
So when I want to find something that's going to, like when it's going up in ranking as far as volume goes, where it tracks like volume and floor price as it's rising up, I go to OpenCNFT.io.
Okay, so spelled the same, Open S-E-A?
No. Open with a letter C because it's Cardano.
Ah, like NFT. A CNFT.
Yeah, it makes sense.
That's good branding. Yeah. That's a good name. OpenCNFT.io. Okay.
So on that site, it ranks it, whether you want 24-hour ranking, week ranking, month-long ranking. It'll rank what's rising up as far as volume. And if you can catch something before it's in the top 10 as far as ranking, but you see it climbing, maybe it's like number 50 and all of a sudden it pops to 40. It's a really good opportunity then to go to that project and maybe buy 10 off the floor. I'm a big believer in buying off the floor if I'm looking to flip. If I'm looking to like a long-term hold on an NFT, I might buy one with a little more rarity to it. But anyways, that's how I pick the projects that are going to be coming up, the ones that are going to become more popular. Are they rising up in rank and volume?
Are these lessons from the playbook?
Those are playbook lessons. Yeah.
Playbook lessons.
Playbook lessons.
All right. When are we going to make our own manual? We got to make one leather bound. We got to
we have to get the coach's whistle and all that stuff. Yeah.
Okay, I have an old Chuck E. Cheese shirt. You know, if you watch our other channel, you know the Chuck E. Cheese story. I'm not going to get into it now.
It's a good one.
It is a good one, but yeah, you know, the little vertical stripe Foot Locker style shirt. They have the same thing there.
I like it. Yeah, I like it. I don't have any weird costumes. I'm not into cosplay.
Well, we at least have to get some aliens for Pluto Alliance.
We could probably do that.
All right, so the four, just again to reiterate, get NAMI. You know, you put your ADA on there. Go to JPEG store, maybe CNFT.io. Check the rarity on CNFT.tools. And if you want to look more into the data and the rankings, go to OpenCNFT.io.
That's it.
Boom. That's the
and
playbook.
you can become a successful CNFT trader.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, ETH, the gas is real high. You know, that's kind of where a lot of people are going. It's pretty fun, you know, buying an NFT for 2 Cardano. You know, it's like $2. Yeah,
that's pretty cool. So I enjoy the Cardano space. Very popular community. Oh, what's your favorite? Real quick before we go, what's your favorite CNFT?
I mean, it has to be my Boss Cat.
Ah, you stole mine.
I mean, it's okay. We both like Boss Cats. All right. What's your favorite non-Boss Cat NFT?
Ah, man, that's a tough one. It's got to be Boss Cat. Favorite non. Okay, I'll say it. I just really like the Chilled Kong's art. Chilled Kong's art looks pretty cool. The apes on there, they went for more of a gorilla vibe instead of like a chimp vibe, and I like that.
I like Bright Pals for art. I like, you know, this is a newer one, but I like the Bitfins for utility. And I don't own one. I'm actually trying to flip into one. I think Space Buds is kind of a OG. To me, it's the punks. I haven't got one yet, but, you know, maybe eventually. Maybe. If it dips down, I'm buying the dip for sure.
Nice. I like it. I think that's all we got.
All right, the final episode. Make sure you go to the NFT update, and you know, that's where you can still see us continue to make fantastic content. We're still putting out playbook lessons, and you know, we're trying to get you to stack them sats, and you know, we'll go on the journey together.
Let's do it. All right. We'll see you at the next channel.
Yeah, Pluto is still a planet.